Alright, in this video we're looking at Leslie matrix. Leslie matrix is used to show what's happening in a population. So in a population we have people surviving and people giving birth. So another way of people surviving is people dying, which makes sense. So let's look at this example here. So this is shown as a transition diagram of the life cycles of a group, 4 different groups of people. So we've got group 1, 2, 3, 4, and most likely it's by age. So this is the youngest, and as you go here, you get older and older. So say you're in this stage of life, there's no chance of you giving birth. However, there is a bit of chance of you dying. So going to stage 2, only 60% of you are surviving. So you've gone down in numbers a little bit. But when you're at stage 2, so now you're a little bit older, and now it's 50% of chance of surviving and going to stage 3. But however, you can give birth now to people, and the rate of you giving birth is 1.4. So you're creating on average 1.4 people that you're bringing back to stage 1 of the life cycle. And then when you get to the next stage, you made it this far, you're still giving birth a little bit less, 1.2 on average. And now you only have 10% of surviving and making it to stage 4 of your life. And at this stage, you're still giving birth, but only 0.3. And all the birth, because they are born young, they all go to stage 1 and repeat this cycle. So this is like a cycle of life in a way. To show this as a Leslie matrix, we have our survival rate going from the first column of the second row and going down this way diagonally. And we got the birth rate. So the birth rate were the numbers here, and the survival rates were the numbers here. So we got the birth rate going from just going across the first row. So for this particular example, you can see the birth rates are here. So this is from 2, the birth rate is 1.4. From stage 3 of your life, birth rate is 1.2, and so on. And we got the survival rate starting here, going down this way. So at the end of the first cycle, your survival rate is 0.6. At the end, as you can see here, at the end of your second cycle, the survival rate is 0.5 and 0.1, and so on. So you can put this as a Leslie matrix, showing you the birth rates and the survival rates. And if you are given your initial state, so like how many people you had at the start, you can figure out how many people there will be after a certain amount of time by multiplying your state matrix and your Leslie matrix together. So let's put this into a practice by looking at this example. So again, there's a lot going on here, so pause the video, have a read, and then come back to the video. Alright, so from this question, it tells us that there's 3 stages of this life cycle: eggs, chicken, and adults. So we got eggs, chicken, and adults this way, and then it tells us that there's no adults to start with, there's 20 eggs and 15 chickens to start with, which then helps us to figure out the initial state matrix. And then we can figure out the Leslie matrix as well from the information that we have. So we got the survival rates here. So 72% of eggs survive to be chickens. So going from first to second, there's 72%, which you can represent as a 0.72. And then this 55 going chicken to adult is down here, 55%. But Then it also tells us the birth rate, and it tells us that there's no birth happening between these two, but then when you're an adult, it says on average adult females reproduce 550 eggs. So we got the 550 eggs over here, but nothing for these two. So once we got the birth rate, survival rate filled out, the rest are all filled with zeros, and we got our Leslie matrix and this initial state matrix here as well. And it asks us to find the number of adults after 4 cycles. So we're looking for this number, the number of adults, but after 4 cycles. So what you have to do is, so for part C, we're looking for S4. So we have our Leslie matrix, and we want to take it to the power of 4, and then we want to multiply that with our initial state matrix. Again, that can be done on the CAS. It will give you a number, it will give you these 3 numbers right away. Which represents how many of each are at after 4 cycles. So we're particularly looking for adults, so we're looking at this number here. So rounded up, it's roughly 1,797 adults after 4 cycles.